Eastern Bloc firearms are really cool. They're a totally different design from a lot of the Western firearms, but yet there are a lot of similarities and inspirations. But it really has progressed more toward the Western line. So we're going to look at 3 different examples. This is not obviously exhaustive, but it just kind of shows you an example of 3 of the calibers and the different firearm types that have occurred within the Eastern Bloc nations. The first one being the Nagant revolver, which is the M1895. This served all the way up until the 1950s and really has served even continually in a lot of different countries for security forces. And then we have the Tokarev. This is the TT-33. It's actually the M57 Tokarev from Serbia. And then here we have the Makarov, and this is the P64 Polish. A lot of the Eastern Bloc countries adopted a standard Makarov pistol design that's a little bit different than the Polish. And actually, I'm getting a Bulgarian Makarov coming up, and we'll be doing a full review on this. But this will represent this caliber of firearm. One of the big things that kind of inspired me to do this was we're starting to see more of the M57s and the P64s coming into the market. And one of the things, guys, I always talk about with these surplus firearms is that when they first come into the country, the prices are pretty reasonable. In fact, very reasonable. And then as the demand goes away, as people buy these up and put them in their collections, these guns go up and meet the current value. One of the things, a prime example, is this M1895 revolver. When these first came into the country, I was seeing these at gun shows for $79 a piece. Really, because of that price, I thought there was something wrong with them. I mean, I didn't buy one. I didn't buy one until I paid over $200 for one a couple of years ago. And really, this pistol the value of this is worth more than that, even now. I think right now they're running about $225. The M57 or the Tokarev guns, originally these were coming in, a lot of these were from China, Norinkos. And really not that great quality, really rough. And so we've seen some of these coming back. This is, again, the Serbian. There are some others out there, but this one is being imported by Century Arms International. And it is a 7.62 by 25 Tokarev ammunition round. And it's a really hot round. And it's a really cool design. And then, of course, with the Makarov, which is the 9mm by 18. And these are running about, in fact, I saw these on Classic Arms for $219. That is a fantastic price for a Walther-inspired design pistol. Yes, it is in the 9mm by 18 Makarov round, but you can get that ammunition pretty readily. I know that I can go up to my Palmetto State Armory, this local here, and get any of this ammunition on the shelf, and a lot of times at Academy Sports and a lot of other places. But you can definitely get it online. All 3 guns are clear and have been safety checked. The Nagant revolver was used from 1895 to the 1950s. And then the Tokarev was used since 1930 and really still used presently. Then it was replaced with the Makarov, which this started being used extensively in 1951 up until about 1991 officially, still being used in a lot of areas. The Polish has been replaced, with the Wist, and then there are other guns that have replaced these, and a lot of them have gone to the 9mm. But one of the things about the designs here is the blowback design, which makes it a lot smaller. It makes it easier to produce. Plus, it's double and single action. So it's a more modern firearm. Only holds 6 rounds. Then you have your Tokarev, which is a single action, which, you have to pull the hammer back to fire the handgun. And it's more based on the Browning design with the short recoil action and, the lock breech. The original designer of the Makarov pistol took a lot of cues from the Walther factory in Germany right after World War II. And then the Polish actually this is a much closer clone to the Walther design. There are a few things internally, but really on the outside, it is a very beautiful Walther-looking pistol, and it functions a lot like that. At J&G sales, I saw some of the M57s for around the $249 range. And these are actually new-made pistols. One of the things about the original Tokarev was it had no external safety. It was just, pull the hammer back and fire, or you could do a half-cock. Now, with the safety right here, it makes it really nice. You can actually carry it cocked and locked as such, or you can drop the hammer and put it in a hammer block. So that's going to keep it, in case it lands on the hammer, it's not going to fire, accidentally. But just a really thin, smooth pistol, a lot of fun to shoot. And really, guys, I'm telling you, that 7.62 by 2.5, it's a really hot round, and it's really a lot of fun. Of course, the P64 was made, obviously, in Poland at the Radom plant, which is one of the best firearms makers in the world. But also, Hungary took their cues also very heavily from the Walther, and those are different than your standard Makarov pistols. There's just a lot of different history behind each one of these firearms. The one that's been used the least in military confrontations has been the P64, but was used in Vietnam and in some other areas. Of course, Poland hasn't been in any real major conflict since this pistol was made. The Tokarev has been used in numerous wars and military actions, and so has the 1895 Nagant revolver. Now, here are the 3 rounds. The Nagant revolver, this is chambered in 7.62 by 3.8 rimmed, which means it has a rimmed cartridge, and that allows it to be fired in revolvers. Then we have the 7.62 by 2.5 Tokarev round. This is a really hot round. I mean, it's really moving out. And then we have the 9 by 18 Makarov round, compared to the 9 by 19 9mm Parabellum or NATO round. And one of the differences and the reasons why this was designed a little differently is the Soviets did not want for this to be able to be used in a 9mm standard Parabellum pistol or Western guns. So it's a little bit fatter in diameter. It's actually 9.27 millimeters, whereas the standard 9mm is 9.017. And the 9mm is a little bit longer. And the Makarov round actually is one of the highest calibers you can use in a blowback design with the pressures. And so typically your Makarov round can be a little bit snappy. You've really got a wide variety of different ballistic capabilities within these rounds. And one of the unique features of the Nagant revolver is the gas seal, how this seals up. And I'm going to watch when I pull the hammer back. Watch how it rests up against the barrel. This helps increase the pressure from the cartridge, but it also allows for this gun to be suppressed. And there were a few that were suppressed. In fact, it's one of the first guns that allowed for suppression, so that just makes it a cool little feature of this pistol. Now you can see obviously the size comparison and how the smaller P64 goes with the thinner Tokarev and then the Nagant round. Of course, Nagant revolvers, with the cylinder, it makes it a little wider, but it's still a pretty streamlined pistol. These weigh about 27.8 ounces, 30.6 ounces on the Tokarev, and then 21.5 ounces on the P64. Now the Nagant revolver, you load 1 round at a time, which makes this really slow loading, and you have to eject 1 round at a time. Then we have the Tokarev, the M57. It does have one of the frame mag releases, which it holds 8 rounds. In just a really streamlined, very 1911-esque or very Browning-esque, I think. And then, of course, with the P64, it has the heel mag release down here, 6 rounds, and again, very Walther-like. One thing I will highly recommend with the Polish P64 is a good Wolf spring kit. The double action on this pistol is pretty stout. Single action's not too bad at all. But that first shot can be a doozy, and so I have a video how to install and what springs you need, and I'll have that annotated right here and in the description below. Now just a few thoughts about the range time on these pistols. The Nagant revolver, softest shooting out of the bunch by far. In fact, it's a really easy soft shooting pistol. Very light recoil. Of course, the double action trigger pull is not super smooth, but I was still able to get pretty decent accuracy. And then when we go to the Tokarev, the M57, it was the next in line for ease to shoot. A lot of it has to do with the heft of the pistol. The round is really hot, but it just really did well. I mean, it was real easy to shoot. The P64 is definitely the toughest out of the bunch, mainly because of its small size and the 9x18 Makarov round, but very manageable. And I hear a lot of people complaining about the Makarov being a little snappy. In some pistols, yes. In this pistol, I don't really find it too snappy. It is a blowback design, which typically will have a little more snappiness, but really all 3 are fairly easy. Now, of course, the effectiveness ballistically of the Nagant revolver is the lowest of the bunch. These two are really pretty high potent rounds, and you get some good hollow points for it, and it could be a good self-defense gun, a good car gun, something to stash away. And really for the price, I mean, all three of these are under $250. It's just really hard to beat and a lot of fun at the range. The Nagant revolver comes in and out of the country, and these are probably running down pretty low. The prices have steadily gone up over the past few years and will continue to rise on these. The P64 and the M57 are being imported. There are a decent, there's a decent inventory around. So these are two that, you know, it's great to get these at a good price. And of course, Century Arms is importing both of these, and from what I've heard, they have a good, you know, inventory of these. So these should be available right now, but sooner or later, guys, these guns are going to be difficult to come by, and two, with the current administration and others that are coming, you never know when imports may stop. We may not be able to get these in the future. So we have three really super pistols for under the $250 range, which really makes this great. But I'm telling you guys, it'll only take another year or two, and all of these pistols will be up to the value that they're worth. To me, out of this table, the most finally finished pistol is the P64, and yet it's actually the cheapest at this point. I get these Red Army standard range packs. There's 3 boxes of 50 in here, and I think it was like $39 from Palmetto State Armory is what I paid for it. Nagant ammunition from Privy Partisan, some of these others, you know, Privy Partisan's making a lot of different ammunition. Also, Monarch is making a number of different rounds for, you know, import, and Fiocchi and some of these others. And so there's just a lot of stuff out there that keeps these shooting. And a lot of times that is a big concern with these pistols. But I had heard recently that Century Arms had gotten in a large shipment of the P64s and of the M57s. And I just really wanted to get a video out saying, guys, if you're looking for, and if you like military surplus arms, especially at a super reasonable price, the quality of these firearms is excellent, and I think they're all a great buy. And I'll have all the links below to the different websites that I talked about, and of course I'll have Century Arms as well, and you can see all the things they offer. My pick out of the three is definitely the P64 as far as a really up-to-date pistol, and ammunition is going to be the most plentiful of all of these. And so I think this would be a great concealed carry. It is a little bit heavy with it being all steel, but man, for, you know, under $250, it's going to be really hard to beat this little pistol. So I want to give all three of these pistols a big thumbs way up. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. Now, just a few thoughts on the range time between these pistols. And we start out with the Nagant revolver. This is the M18. Compared to the 9x19